Board, Ministry of Sports and Heritage. She's Nelly Muluka. I'm calling her Mary because that was the first name I was given. I always keep the first name. So Nelly, you're most welcome. We've had a wonderful 2.5 days. This is our last day. And you will be actually giving us a climax remark, which will help us to reflect more on the 3 days. And we hope that members who are here this morning are very excited and ready to listen to you. So feel welcome and please speak to us. Karibu. Members, welcome Nelly.
He said he hopes that the members are excited to listen to me. I hope you're excited. By show of hand, let's see if you're excited. Good morning. God is good all the time. Okay, as you heard, I'm Nelly Muluka, although I have a sister called Mary Muluka. And initially he had even written Muruga. So maybe one thing I live here with is a new name. Nelly Muluka, I'm the corporate communications manager at the Kenya Film Classification. He said Kenya Film and. That and is not there, so I'll also create that awareness. Kenya Film Classification Board. I'm here on behalf of our CEO, Dr. Ezekiel Mutua, who is out of the country to forge partnerships here and there with the aim of protecting children against exposure. So he's just doing out there what we are doing here, an indication that, yes, we are one and that we will win this one. Secondly, somebody might wonder about Kenya Film Classification Board in relation to protection of children and child care. So quickly, as you are told, Kenya Film Classification Board is a regulatory body. We are a state corporation under the Ministry of Sports and Culture, initially Sports, Culture and the Arts, but from this year, we are under the Ministry of Sports and Heritage. And we are a regulatory body. We are enacted by an Act of Parliament, that is Film and Stage Play Act Cap 222, with the aim of doing the following. We regulate the creation, broadcast, distribution, possession, and exhibition of film and broadcast content. So right from creation, when people are going out there to create broadcast content, film content, commercials, posters, we are there. Then the distribution, the actual broadcast, be it on TV, be it online, radio and all that, possession, and generally exhibition. Anything that is meant for public consumption. And before I move on, I'm sure many of you have seen us trending and in Twitter and in social media lately. I don't know whether to say for good or for bad reasons, but most of it is good, only twisted by twisted minds who are out to pass wrong information. Recently we said that film licensing is a must for anybody who is creating video for public consumption. But people have chosen to concentrate on, so my selfie, WhatsApp, YouTube. Those are twisted people who know they are not doing that, and therefore it is just to make people not to follow the right thing. Otherwise, we are working together with you towards child care and protection. As I move on, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about media as I'm talking about media, ICT and artificial intelligence on child care and protection. So child care and protection, as everything that we do as a regulatory body, is with the aim of protecting children against exposure to harmful content and adult content. Adult content, things to do with maybe adult language that may connotate some sexual things, even the physical, probably exposure, if there's a bit of nudity and stuff like that. And then harmful content, that one we try to protect not only the children, but adults as well. Things like radicalization, hate speech, demeaning other people's culture, maybe there are others which are creativity, though when they are overdone, again, like where I come from, we love our food since we work hard for it. But if you keep rubbing it in about our love for our food, then it starts bordering more the other side than creativity. So we also try to protect people against that. Media is a double-edged sword. I know this is a cliche which you all know that media can make, but media can also destroy. Therefore, we can use media to protect our children against exposure to harmful content, but the same media can be used and has been used to expose our children against exposure to harmful content. You've heard them here say by themselves that they're not just exposed by anybody out there, but including us. We are as guilty as child. Us are the adults, us are the parents. We don't give them time. We are just on Facebook and on WhatsApp and passing those messages. We laugh. We are all, like even in this room, I know there are those listening to me. There are those who are passing messages on WhatsApp and sharing. But it is well, as we say in Swahili, Mungu anawaona. Okay, so media, how do we prove that media actually has that power that we can use to protect our children against that exposure, or that media can spoil our children? Just look at commercials. The effect of commercials on our buying habits, for instance, is evidence enough of how powerful media is. Media shapes character. As an adult, as they say, probably you cannot teach an old dog what? New tricks. But it's very easy to teach a puppy new tricks. So I'm not saying our children are puppies. This is just a simile. So media can teach our children bad things, and even the rest of us as we see through commercials. Commercials, especially done on media direct, you find tend to sexualize and over-sexualize everything. You see cooking fat. Somebody wants to introduce cooking fat, but there's some sexual connotation in it. What is the correlation between cooking fat and sex? For sure. We keep wondering, well, does it mean you'll eat and be healthy and you can really perform? Okay, I don't know. But there's no correlation in that. So many of those, or maybe a beautiful car, the media has perfected on saying that probably if you have a beautiful wife and their concept of beauty is slender, tall, I don't know, light. Now imagine people like me with big bodies like this and look at the leg and so on. According to the media, I'm ugly. But in my community, I'm very beautiful. They sing songs in praises of my kind of leg. But for the media, and then you see that is what they do to our children. As the children watch, they now want to emulate. They start struggling, they become anorexic, they don't want to eat because I want to look like so and so. But the others also who have shown you must have a very big supporting document behind them. So what do our children do from the commercials? They want to go for those artificial ones. Actually, when you see the majority out there, especially for the men, do not think it is what you see. A good number of them are bought. They are just fake, like fake news. And then the ladies, especially mothers like me, we get so worried. We look, we say, no, I'm not like them. What will happen? When you are driving with the museum and you see them, look at them, you wonder. They are not normal. They are artificial, my friend. And you see, that is what our children want to look like. And what has brought all this, it's the what? The media. So it is a double-edged sword. Again, as we said, media being double-edged sword, having the ability to shape the character of our children, Being in their formative years, children are bound to pick habits and allow the media that they interact with to shape their character and their being. So in this regard, their vulnerability calls for protection against the content that they consume, be it directly from TV, radio, be it online. This morning, I'm sure most of you are listening to radio as you come. And as you listen to some of those radio talks, if you are taking your child to school, for example, let's say you are there, your husband, wife, probably your other children, and you are listening to the kind of talk that goes on media. Of course, 3/4 is about sex. Then you do not know what you're going to tell your children. In between, there are commercials, maybe commercials about alcohol, condoms, what, and so on. They are a reality. They are there. But we have what we call the watershed period, which is also under our custody as KFCB to ensure that to protect children against exposure, such things should be taken outside the watershed period. The watershed period is from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. But because the media also thrives in commercials and all that, they'd rather spoil our children, harm them, and get their money. And when KFCB talks about it, many people, even some who are there here, will say you are overstepping. It is a freedom of expression. They are our children. We will take care of themselves. Who chose you prefect over our children? Then when they are spoiled, you come, you write, and you say, you people are not doing your work. Can't you see ABCD? But we try our level best. I'm sure recently you saw the kiss condoms which were going on and on. Those are the people we quickly look for and we tell them, you either stop it or we take you to court. And quietly it disappears from TV. It is indeed our collective responsibility to capitalize on the good that the media offers for the benefit of our children. We can still use media for the benefit of our children. Of course, back even to social media, the children can learn from the same. But again, that is the media where there's a bullying of children, there is stalking, there are pedophiles who come after our children. That is where drugs are sold and many other vices. So it is important that we use the same media, take advantages and opportunities to educate our children, to protect them against that exposure and against people who could harm them. As stated earlier, the media is a powerful tool, especially in socializing, and as an agenda setter, you find that media sells ideologies. These ideologies are sold not only in commercials, not only in talks, but also the movies and even the cartoons that our children watch. From where we sit at KFCB, we've banned or rather restricted some cartoons. You are sitting there as a parent, your child is watching cartoons, but you might not even realize that an ideology is being sold, like the LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. Of course, there are people who are born naturally like that, but 3/4 are people who've chosen, and whatever you've chosen to be as an adult is your own choice. But when you start using it to expose children, you want to make children to be part of it, then it becomes our what? Our business. And when it's our business, when you write to us and you say, who made you prefect over our genitals? Those are the kind of things we get, by the way, people. Then we say we are just doing our work within the law, trying to protect what? Children against exposure. And if you say who chose you prefects to protect our children, we are mandated by an act of parliament created in 1933. 1933 they began, and then 1963, that is when it was enacted under the Film and Stage Play Act of Parliament. Freedom of expression Again, we will say through in the Constitution, but there's limitation for as long as freedom of expression, for as long as creativity contravenes another law, then it becomes illegal. It is mainly for this reason that we conduct, as Kenya Film Classification Board, a media literacy program called You Are What You Consume. That in what you consume, we try to work with other bodies, with other like-minded organizations to spread the word that you are what you consume. If you consume bad media content, then you will have negative what? Effects. We do so mainly for the children, that they are what they consume. Studies have shown that children who are brought up watching violent movies will most probably become violent adults. Children who are brought up watching pornography, you'll find that with the time, as they grow into adults, they may be too addicted that getting them even to accept themselves and relate well with the opposite sex becomes difficult. That children who are brought up maybe watching things to do with hate speech, what the media perfects in again, probably when you say things like what I'm saying here right now, if media was here, they will not report anything. But if I was standing here and saying that the president is bad, this, of course, I don't know whether he's bad or good, by the way, that is your own opinion. They love such, and then they'll go to him and ask him, what do you think? And then he'll say, go and tell that woman ABCD, and then they'll report that, and then they come back to me. And so those are the things that our children are doing what? Watching and emulating. So media can make our children, but media can also be a major tool in destroying our children, giving them vices instead of values. That brings me again to another point of gambling. You know about gambling. Children tend to copy and paste. Children tend to copy and paste content in their innocence, not knowing the repercussions of the same. And this being their foundational years, the media offers the rare opportunity to impact them for a lifetime. So you find that when children watch what the media is talking about, at that level, they may not form opinions that are informed. They will say, if you remember about the parents here, even big brothers, big sisters, you tell them it's not this, stop, they say, but teacher said. It used to be teacher said. These days, it's no longer teacher said. I saw it where? On the internet, I saw it on Facebook, I saw it on WhatsApp, I saw it on Instagram, and so on. And then, at the end of the day, they believe, and that is what they want it to be. Technology is the most defining impact on contemporary development. With more reliable internet and with faster speed, we will be in a regulatory dilemma if our policies remain weak, our efforts ineffective and wanting. In fact, whereas technology advancement is to be applauded, it comes coated with challenges. Further, digital migration has brought with it new challenges leading to proliferation of platforms that are readily available and unregulated. Unregulated content is that content which is just put out there and anybody can consume it from anywhere, from whichever media, and so on. So this again needs to be taken into consideration, that the effect of, we need to work together to create awareness so that our children, us as parents, us as organizations, and so on, we can all work together in protecting and creating awareness of this. Again, there's the concept of success which the media sells to our children. That success is kwachua chapa, gambling and betting, quick fixes. So we have to work together to ensure that children know about the values of hard work, persistence, determination, and not sitting the whole day thinking, if I just kwachua, you keep on lotto and so on. It takes one, as they say, this is not me, I've borrowed from a friend, that it takes one thief to make 1 million from a million poor people to give some of it to just one person. So it is not good for our children to get involved in this. The role models that we see on media, who are our celebrities, who are our role models, are they the people we want our children to emulate? And then I've already talked about those bad adverts. You know, now I'm under pressure of time. I used to be a teacher. You should allow me to talk. Come on. Teachers talk even when people have stopped listening. Okay, so as a regulator, Kenya Film Classification Board remains your gatekeeper on protecting children against exposure to harmful content and giving age appropriateness. So we say this one you can watch as a family, this one as family but with parental guidance, this one 16 and below katikando, this one 18 and above, and others we restrict, like we did Rafiki recently. People are making noise. Why don't we want men and men to marry, women and women to marry? They can still do it wherever they want, but here in our constitution, it is not what? Allowed, and it will not be. We will remain your prefects with our boss as your moral cop. Then, as I continue coming towards the end because of time, I just wanted to say we are collaborating with bodies such as YouTube, Facebook, Watoto Watch, Google, and all others online to ensure that when something is put online that is not appropriate for our children, then we alert them and they flag out. We want to thank the public. A good number of you are sent and you keep on telling us, please remove this, remove this. Of course, I know you've seen even those sculptures at the airport. We are now removing in front of the CJ anything that exposes our children to the fact that sex is there. Our children will get to a time when they will have it, but we are not going to force it and all that to them through the media. Let them do it at the right time until they'll be even tired of doing it. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to partner with us as we continue to enjoy the support of stakeholders. Together, we can work as a KFCB. We work with religious organizations, we work with the parent bodies, we work with the others that I've talked about online. We also work with learning institutions in our campaigns that we do all around the country to ensure that children are well informed about the media that they consume and the impact that it creates. It is a shared responsibility. Without a doubt, gathered here, I believe, are ambassadors of hope for our nation and our children. And since you are what you consume, it's incumbent on you to pass on the value and virtue of good media consumption to our children. Thank you and God bless you.
Before Nelly goes to sit down, I want to invite our co-chair just to shake hands and thank her for the wonderful night. Our co-chair, Reverend Stephen, please come and shake her hands on our behalf to thank her for this remarkable opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to go back to Nelly's presentation. She has done very well to elaborate and simplify all that pertains to media and information technology and where we are called upon to collaborate to safeguard and protect our children. Her topic was building synergy in media, ICT, and artificial intelligence on child care and protection. And she has done it very well in a more simplified and able for us to listen and understand. Please give her another big clap of thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, and our regards to the CEO, and we hope and look forward to collaborate and work with you. I know she has speech printed. Probably we need to have a copy so that we can share with the members. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, I want to welcome our next speaker. Our next speaker is on behalf of the Chair Lady, First Lady Snorkers, and her name is Dr. Mary Lunyangapo. Dr. Mary is from West Pokot. She's the First Lady, West Pokot County. She's a senior lecturer at Moi University and in the Department of Linguistics and Foreign Languages. One of the things she asked me, why have you not had linguistics as part of this presentation? And I believe that's what she's going to do. And I assured her that exactly that's what we're going to do. It's part of our presentation. So please join me to welcome Dr. Mary.
So she's not in today, but she requested me to study on her behalf. Yeah, so personally, I'm glad to be here today, together with my sister who is here. Our chair was here when we began the conference, but she left. We also had the First Lady from Kajiado County yesterday, but she also left because she had some other engagements. But together with me is the First Lady from Homa Bay. Maybe she can just wave. She can even go there. She can even come here and give me more support. Yeah, thank you so much. You're allowing her to say hi? Yes. Okay.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Morning. It's a great pleasure for the organizers of this wonderful meeting to have invited the County First Ladies Association. We are actually 44 in number, but due to various commitments, most of us were not able to be here, but at least we are represented by the two that have been with us and left due to various commitments, as my colleague has said, and we are here to represent them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so first of all, I would like to appreciate the organizers of this conference. We really appreciate the fact that you thought about having this conference, the first in our nation. And I believe that it's not just the first, but we'll have many more, in future. So we really appreciate that you thought of having this conference, and more so bringing in so many people from various sectors. It is good. And what impressed me more is that you brought in academicians to present their papers on the various researches that they're doing. You know, that is what we always complain about. Maybe let me talk about it because I'm also a teacher. We always complain about the many researches we do and nothing happens. We don't use the findings. We just leave them on the shelves. But this time at least we had academicians come around, share the researches, their findings, and I believe we are going to use those findings, which is very, very good. And I believe that is the right way to go. And like I said, maybe next time we can bring in more from other departments, including mine, linguistics, because I'm sure Lady Justice will appreciate that we need forensic linguists, whom we have in my department, who can come also and talk about language and the law, how magistrates use the law, how policemen, how magistrates use language, how policemen use language, even with the kids when they don't understand these are kids. So we have a lot of resources out there. And if we can make use of them, then I'm sure we can actually all contribute to this noble cause. Otherwise, we really appreciate as County First Ladies for this initiative. It is a noble initiative, and I believe that this is the right way to go. Yeah, so I'll start by just mentioning about who we are. County First Ladies Association. This is an association of first ladies from all the counties. These are the spouses of the sitting governors in all the counties. Like she said, we are 44 because 3 of the governors are ladies, which is a plus for us, and we believe that in future we'll have more governors who are ladies and not just men. So yeah, we are 44 in number, and we really appreciate, and maybe I should have also said that I really appreciate that the fact that you invited so many ladies to make presentations. You know, we are used to being the second, but I'm impressed in this conference that ladies are the first. They have been given so many opportunities to present what they have, and this is good. And this is the way to go. Ladies are important, and they can actually contribute to everything that we do, and they can do it very well, because we've seen them do it. That is true, isn't it? Yeah, so personally, I really appreciate, and this is good. Yeah, so County First Ladies Association, as I've said, consists of female spouses of the sitting governors. We thought of coming up with this association as ladies. Why? Because we need to work together. And unlike our spouses, we are non-political. We know our spouses are politicians. County First Ladies are not politicians. We are non-political. So that places us in a very good position in the sense that we can be the unifying factor down there and even up there, because we don't belong anywhere. And as you all know, in the African cultures, ladies belong nowhere. That is it, isn't it? Yeah, most of us who are here, ladies and are married, I'm sure we are married elsewhere, not necessarily where we are born. And that is what we are. We are non-political. Secondly, we are non-religious. We are non-religious. All of us are there. So the defining factor is that we are spouses to the sitting governors. And why did we come up with this association? This is a platform that brings us together. One, to be able to network as ladies, to share ideas as ladies that come from various counties, sharing the same issues or going through the same issues, and of course coming up with strategies of how we can deal with the issues that are affecting us in our various counties. Because what is true is that we have those issues that affect all of us. We may have a few differences, but most of the issues that we go through in our counties are the same. So this is a platform that gives us an opportunity to share as County First Ladies. And we're also able to come up with shared programs that we are able to carry out in order to help our people on the ground. And the other reason why we decided as County First Ladies to come together and work together is because we're actually there to complement our spouses. And what we do as County First Ladies is to promote the social, the economic, the cultural, the health issues in our counties, coming up with programs that can help us reach to our people. And that is exactly what we are doing. We're able to learn from each other, we're able to support each other, we're able to come up with common programs, individual programs, depending on where we come from. And this far, we've seen many ladies do so many things in their counties, and I'm sure we bear witness because we all come from those counties, and you've seen your ladies do things, haven't you? Yeah, and kindly give them support because they are trying. So our focus areas are mainly on issues to do with the vulnerable in the community. That is the priority. And when you talk about the vulnerable, we are talking about the women. We know that women are among the vulnerable as usual, but we believe that in future they won't. We are talking about the children who are actually our subject. Those are the people that we focus on. The children, the youth are also the group of people that we focus on, and also persons with disability, the elderly, the widowed, the widowers, etc., the vulnerable in the community. And as we do this, we don't do it independently, but we actually draw our programs and activities from the big picture that is, the big picture which, of course, the individual governors have in the individual counties. So we are there to complement what they're doing. We don't do anything that is parallel. So with regard to health, we focus on, health issues especially maternal issues and child care. We know that there are so many issues to do with the health of the mothers, the health of the children, and these are part of the issues that we focus on. Various ladies have come up with programs, and you've seen the much that they've been able to do. As much as they don't have a budget, because the First Lady's office is not constitutional, I'm sure she can tell us it's not constitutional, but somehow counties have been able to come up with a way of ensuring that the First Lady's office functions in order to complement what the county government does. We also focus on environmental issues, where we look at sanitation and hygiene. We come up with programs where we are able to make better, at least the living of our people. With regard to children, we've come up with so many programs, especially our emphasis for most of us, and actually to almost all of us, it is about ensuring that the basic rights of the child are ensured. The child is meant to be in school. That is a basic right. The child is meant to have food. That is a basic right. The child is meant to have good health. That is a basic right, plus the many others that we know. All these issues that we've been discussing in this conference, this is part of our focus. This is part of our focus. And as you know, the child is under threat. And that is why for us we find this conference to be very, very important. Maybe a few of us have been wondering why we are seated here from the other day, especially the two of us. Maybe we are the most affected. And for me, I feel I am the most affected personally. And maybe my sister, she has her own story. But for me, I feel I'm the most maybe affected. Yeah, and that is why I needed to be here, so that I also get to understand what is happening in terms of the experiences, the challenges, and the opportunities that are there with regard to the child. Because we know that most of the problems that our children go through are the same. But so for some of us, maybe they're even more. Because we have issues that are in certain counties that may not necessarily be in others. Like when it comes to street children, I know they're in almost all counties. I was surprised that even for some of us who actually come from counties that almost over 90%, that is what statistics say, that for instance, West Pokot, over 90% is rural. So just around 80 or 9% is urban. But it's shocking, because when you come there, you find kids on the street. Because those days we used to think that when it comes to children on the street, it is about urban areas. But these problems are there all over. When it comes to drug abuse and substance abuse, these things are there. Whether it is rural, urban, they are there. But we have those that are so specific to certain counties, like issues of teenage pregnancies. Some of us are really affected, like her and me. And of course, narrow, like West Pokot is number 3. So those are the issues that we are trying to think through and see what is it that we can do to help, for instance, our young girls. Yeah, be in school and not drop out of school. And issues of culture, where of course our kids are forced to go through FGM when they're as young as 9 years, 8 years, 10 years, 12. And the moment they go through FGM, they are mature to get married. They get married, so you find a child with a child. And many children, like somebody was saying yesterday, at the age of 38, one can have as many as 14 or even 15. They drop out of school, their dreams are shattered. Those are the issues that we're struggling with. There are issues that we're struggling with, and they're eating some of us so much because of where we come from. Yeah, issues of early pregnancies. Those are the issues that we're struggling with, abduction, etc. So for us, this conference is very, very important because we are focusing on the child and the issues that the child is going through, the challenges that are there, which to all of us is very important. And as we said, and as we've been saying, it requires all of us to come together. It requires all of us. We cannot just leave it to the national government. When we began the other day, and of course it's been coming out, it's like for some of us, the issue of the child is not devolved. It is with the national government. But I think we were told by one of the presenters that it's not about devolving the child. Because if you are to devolve the child, you'd also maybe think of devolving the woman and maybe the youth and the other in the family. But it's about the function. But for me and to all of us, like you've seen, it is about all of us. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where that department is. Whether it is with the national government, whether it is with the county government, whether it is here or there, it doesn't matter. What matters is that there is a problem. We've identified that the problem is there. And this problem requires all of us. It requires all of us. Whether we are the national government, whether we are in the county, whether we are teachers, we are parents, we are the church, we are the CBOs in the county, or whoever we are, this is a problem that requires all of us to come together, to think through so that we are able to come up with a solution. And my prayer, and I'm sure our prayer, all of us, is that at the end of this conference, we'll be able to come up with a way forward. Because as we know, and we've been reminded over and over, and we come from the African community, and we know that things have changed. It's not like it were, where the child belonged to everybody. Today, we are so individualistic. My child is my child. But I wish we go back to a place where we can see a child as our child, regardless of where they come from, whom they belong to, so that when you see a child in a problem or a child who needs help, we are there to provide that help. And that is what we are saying in this conference, that we all have to arise, we all have to take position, and of course, they address the problem that we are facing. So as County First Ladies, ours is to say that these are the issues we are dealing with on the ground. And we are ready to work with all that on board. We are we are ready to partner together so that we can work towards ensuring that, the child has his or her right as a child. So that we work together to ensure that, we deal with the issues that are affecting our children. Because as we all know, and as we've been reminded, I think we've been reminded so many times, but as a teacher, we always believe the more we repeat, the more our students do what? Understand. That the future, or rather our tomorrow, depends on how we bring up our kids today. What is happening with our children today determines our tomorrow as a nation. And sometimes I even look at our nation, what is happening in our nation. Every time I see things happening, I go back to the background. It is because of what is happening down there. It is because of how we are bringing up our kids. It is because of what is happening down here, whether it is in the homes or in school, that is resulting into what we are having up there. So the way we bring up our children is very, very important. What we are doing right now is very important. It determines our tomorrow as a nation. So for us as County First Ladies, this conference is very, very important. But also apart from all this, I'm sure, as we think through all this, I really appreciate the fact that, so far we have policies with regard to the child. We have laws in place. And our Lady Justice has been, we've been told about this, and these things are there. But the problem is that very few of us know about this. The other day we were asked whether we even know these rights, whether we've read through the Constitution to find about what the child is entitled to. But we don't, we haven't read. So as much as these laws are there, as much as these policies are there, not many of us know them. So maybe there is need for sensitization, that we go back to the ground so that we tell people. People need to know that this is what they're entitled to. That child needs to know. The parents need to know, so that when some of these things happen, they know where to go to. Because sometimes they don't know what to do. They find themselves in situations, but they don't know exactly what they're supposed to do. Why? Because they don't know their rights. And apart from us sensitizing them, just making sure that, we follow through what we have is very important. We were reminded yesterday by Dr. Mugo, and I'm sure that is what we are taking away with as we leave this conference. That is not just about us having those good ideas. It's not just about us having the knowledge. If that knowledge is not implemented, it becomes useless. So as much as we have these policies, I'm sure we all agree that after all this, after even this conference, we need to go back and do what? Follow up what we have, so that we have these policies implemented. Yeah, so that we can see the results. We can see the results, because if we have them and nothing is happening out of them, then it doesn't really make sense. So as county first ladies, we are ready to work with you. We are ready to partner with you. Like we were talking the other day, we were saying that we need to have an MOU so that we have a structured way of working, so that when we are there doing things on the ground, we are able to consult, we are able to come together and see what we can do in order to reach this child, in order to help our children who are suffering down there in the village. So as county first ladies, we are ready to partner with other stakeholders in childcare and protection. We are ready to support any activity that is geared towards changing the situation as it is at the moment. And also our justice system, what has come out, especially from the story that the young man gave us the other day, there is need for more to be done, so that when we have our children found on the wrong side of the law, the way they're handled, they're not handled like everybody else, but they're handled as children, because they're children. We'll be reminded over and over that a child is just a child, and that is why he's a child. So the way a child is treated is different from the way an adult is treated. And that is part of what we teach in forensic linguistics. You know how we handle them, how we talk with them, how we behave when we are with them. So we believe that things will change. As we keep coming together, as we keep interacting and sharing, things will change, and that is our prayer. Our child will be able to be safe and secure. Our children will be able to be safe and secure wherever they are. So, as county first ladies, we really appreciate this interaction, and it's our prayer that this will continue, and our request is that maybe in future we don't just have it in Nairobi, we can decentralize so that we go to counties, so that we have the same in counties, just to speak to everybody else, that this concerns all of us. It is not just about a particular group, but it concerns all of us, and we all need to come together so that we deal with this problem. So we are there championing the same. As much as this is not taken care of, maybe in the budget as it is, because like we had yesterday, and as we know, sometimes we are not sure even where the child is placed when it comes to budgeting in the county. But I'm sure, since this is what we are interested in, as county first ladies, we'll also champion so that as counties do their budgets, they also look at the child, the needs of the child, so that the child is also taken care of, even in the budgeting. So we are there to champion this even at the grassroots. So as we leave from this place, what are we all saying? That we really need to go back and evaluate the situation the way it is, and remind ourselves that children belong to us, and it is us who can make the future or break the future. But we have an opportunity to make the future, because we have all that it takes to do what is right, wherever we are, in whatever capacity, whether we are the national, the county, whether we are teachers, we are religious, or whatever we are, we have the capacity to change the situation. So can we take our responsibility and do what we are supposed to do for the good of this child and of course for the glory of God, because you know God created them with a purpose, and that purpose must be accomplished, and He uses you and me to ensure that His purposes are accomplished even in these children. So our plea is that together we can change the situation as it is, because we have the capacity, we have all that it takes. But as county ladies, we are ready to help our children down there, children who are suffering with so much, and of course they don't have a voice. It is us who can voice for them. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, ladies. Don't go away. Please remain here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to have listened to our County First Lady, Mary, and County First Lady from Kajiado. From Homa Bay. And I know the two, I want the chair maybe just to articulate very much better so that we have the proper representation. It's very important to let the members know that how many First Ladies were here, and also to highlight in a better manner on our behalf our appreciation of what they have done. And a call for us to actually network with them is very important. So as you go back home, just remember to reach out to your First Lady and let her take on what we have had today. So I want to welcome again Reverend Stephen on behalf of us to acknowledge these remarks.
I want to be very brief because we really appreciate you, First Ladies, for honoring our invitation. We were longing to have you come on board to be with us. The reason why we really didn't want to miss these wonderful people is because they are the little mama counties. Homa Bay, umuone Her Excellency Madam Awiti umefika. Kwa sababu nimefikia president wa wapi? So president wa Homa Bay ako hapa leo. President wa West Pokot ako hapa leo. We are honored. They are very, very important people. And what we are doing as ASIC and as key stakeholders in children work, we want to work with these wonderful people very closely. We want to hold them close to us, together with county directors of children's service. We want to solidify our working relationship with them, because as Kenyans, we have been working in our own corners here and there. We didn't want to care who does what, but we are changing the narrative. And ASIC bites deep and strong. And we are biting our county First Ladies so that we can work with them and protect our children. We have cried for so many years, but our cry is almost over. Could you assure us that we are going to take care of these children? And so that they can go back and talk to the president. There's a book, like you were told. We have a wonderful book here. This journey started long ago. And we have a wonderful book that is Childcare and Protection, a handbook for practitioners. It's the first book written by Africans, our own. And those our own are here, they are team members. And maybe because I want them to know who has written this book, the first person is Alice Karia. I don't know why she's here. She's the CEO of Association of Charitable Children Institutions. You see her here. The second person is Dr. Beatrice Kadhango. Simulimuona jana? She is a lecturer and a senior lecturer in Kenyatta University. And then we have Caroline Chakua. I don't know whether she's with us today. She is a senior lecturer also in Moi University together with Dr. Mary. And then we have Grace Goge Maina. She is a senior lecturer and director in KICD, Kenya Institute of Curriculum Studies, and Curriculum Development. And then we have Madam Hannah W. Mainge. She's here with us. Who is the Mkubwa of Probation Department, and she's always with us. And then last but not the least, is because they have gone in alphabetical order, we have our lordship, Lady Justice Teresia Mundua Naveka. And this book was commissioned and forwarded by me. And so I take this opportunity now to send our first lady to go and work for the children in the counties. Na tutafuatilia, tutafanya pamoja. Nataka we should be team members, all of us. So wacha niwape na niwasalimie, niwaambie Mungu awabariki sana. Tuwapigie makofi.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are on for the plenary session. Thank you very much, Reverend, for doing what you've just done. It's a session for questions, clarifications, and feel free to ask. We have about 20 minutes for the plenary session. Ni wakati wa kuuliza maswali kadhaa, ama ukitaka kuhighlight jambo lolote, unaweza kuhighlight. Tuko na 20 minutes.
Nimesahau kitu kidogo. Like you have heard, this book was a culmination of the development of a curriculum. We have now a course for the first time in Kenya on child care and protection. It is, degree course is taken at Pwani University. It's a public university, so if you want to do a degree in child care and protection, go to Pwani University. It's among the approved courses by COEA, Commission of University Education. It was approved in 2016, and it was through the effort of many stakeholders. Then we have diploma that is being rolled out in all counties. It was being piloted in Nairobi, and it is now in May. It is in Eldoret, and towards the end of next year, it will be in all the regions of Kenya. And then we have certificate course, and soon we'll be having a postgraduate diploma for those who have other degrees but would like to specialize in children. And you can see Dr. Beatrice, because KU is waiting, and I know before the end of maybe this year, we'll maybe have something in place. So we want to professionalize this sector and build the capacity of care workforce. Thank you.
I wish to welcome Madam Nelly to come forward. You're free to ask any question to the three.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity. My name is Andrew Piero from Arambe for Kenya and NGO in Kisii. And I wanted to start by making a comment and partly a question. My questions might be divided into three. One, I want to start from what our chairman really talked about in the start of this symposium. And I picked what I really was interested in because I know most of us here come from NGOs, and we are involved in childcare in NGOs, but as a parent, again, I realized as parents we also benefited. One thing that is very conspicuous, I hope I'll not misquote the chairman. If I misquote chairman, you excuse me, but then it will be my opinion. It is so important that the stakeholders in various governmental organizations, which I feel in particular when we look at our parliament, when they are thinking about who is to get what, it is becoming very conspicuous in the Kenyan system for us to see the MPs talk about, with those of the opinion say, yeah, and they all say, yeah. And when the Kenyan is listening, they are all saying yeah, with none saying no on an increment on salaries for the members of parliament, so that they can earn above $1 million plus. When we have so many children loitering in the streets that require to be given an opportunity to live, and for those of us who have happened to have a chance to go to the developed world, people think collectively. People think about those who don't have, so that they can also have something in their stomach before the end of the day. Whoever can make this point, I guess, Chairman, I've not misquoted you, let our parliamentarians, the people that we choose to go to parliament, not think so much about themselves and how they can sit on money only to pick a few coins from down there and dish, but think on how they can give life, especially to the disadvantaged. That's my first point. My second point goes to the first ladies of the counties. Thank you so much, the two first ladies. Please take our love to their excellencies, the governors, for being with us. The governors have got a stake in the devolution of the government. And most of our organizations are in the counties. I've talked to the first ladies because one very important thing, first ladies, you are mothers. And I know as mothers, you know how to fight for a child who doesn't have anything. Please, when you go to your counties, I wish my first lady in my county was here so that she can get my point. Please, make a point of checking the disadvantaged quite very sincerely, because the rest of us have got something in our homes, but the disadvantaged may not have something. And if you can reach some of these homes and talk to the people who are running them, you may help our system to help those who are disadvantaged. Lastly, but not least, I want to say something about what Francis, I can't remember, Francis said something very important yesterday night. I didn't have a chance to say anything. He talked about institutions. We have managed as a government of Kenya to look at one area of the disadvantaged. That is the physically and mentally and whatever disabled people. But let me put it in my own language that I feel people like street families are quite disadvantaged, and to me, they are handicapped. I wish in our institutions of learning, especially I was a teacher myself, teachers, because KISE, Kenya Institute of Special Education, has taught teachers who can be able to handle some disabled children in the mainstream. But we don't have teachers who are trained to handle the children who are street children because they have grown where there is the law of the jungle. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I will take only one question, then I allow the plenary members to respond. One question.
Thank you. My name is Elijah from the media team here. Two short questions. One is on behalf of the social media audience, following the conversation online. This goes to Nelly. At Yegon, Emmanuel says, first it was the structures at JKIA, then now you're going to get the sculptures out of Supreme Court, National Museum. Don't you think that you are corrupting the minds of children by being so sensitive to these structures? And my question now, still to Nelly, is about double standards. We've seen that KFCB is very keen when it comes to content to do with film and all that, but yet, when you look at our TV stations, we have some leading TV stations that are airing local content which is obscene. And we all know that. So why are you so keen when it comes to film and international content, so to speak? But then when it comes to local programming, sometimes we see a bit of laxity. Why the double standards from KFCB?
Thank you. I'll allow the first ladies to go first, then Nelly.
Thank you very much. Maybe I start by stating our background, why the County First Lady Association came into being, and I think that will answer the question on the disadvantage. We all know that in the Kenyan Constitution, there is no clause on the activities of the County First Ladies. But starting with what our National First Lady is doing, she sat down and saw the need of incorporating the County First Ladies in support for the activities in the county, just as she's doing with the national government. So actually what happened, at first, in 2014, she called us together because we all know Kenya is so big, isn't it? And I would have not been able to meet Mary from West Pokot when I'm from Homa Bay, because other than being spouses of governors, we are professionals in our own ways, and we are also mothers, isn't it? In our families and within the community. But the National First Lady felt that we needed to support the county activities in one way or the other, with or without the county budget. So she called us together, and when she developed a strategic framework, she requested us also to come together and develop a common strategic framework. Now, from the common County First Lady strategic framework, each County First Lady is able to identify her unique county needs and come up with her strategic framework, which we have done. Now, at the county level, what we do, because we don't have a budget, we work with partners. And you will find that we are working with partners to support virtually all government ministries or government departments, beginning with health. We support health activities through the National First Ladies program of the Beyond Zero program, that is ensuring that from the ground there, we work with and support the affected and the infected with HIV/AIDS. And we don't stop there. We also look at all other conditions that affect human beings, ranging from non-communicable diseases, communicable diseases, and you will find that we are also even championing issues like nutrition within the counties. Now, within our communities, we are able, because we have gone down to the ground, some of us had even to retire from their professions or from their work to go and join the governor down because of role conflict, because we found that when you are living, for instance, at a town and the governor has to be at the other end, it is not easy to support him and at the same time be in employment. Being at the county level, we have been able to identify within the communities the needy, ranging from the disadvantaged, the physically challenged, the mentally challenged, and because we liaise with non-governmental organizations and governmental departments, we are able to link up disadvantaged cases. Like in my community, you find that most of the physically challenged kids or mentally challenged kids were locked up in the homes. But if you go down there now, you will find that within Homa Bay town, for instance, we have a school where these children are taken, and this is because of linking up with organizations like APDK and others that were able to support us to come up with classrooms within the school to support these children. You find that some of the physical disabilities within our communities come up because of diseases like polio, isn't it? And polio affects them both mentally and physically. And we team up with the health people to help them identify children who have been kept away from immunizations so that they can also benefit from the vaccine preventable diseases like polio and even measles. In our own small ways, we are able to support women within the communities who are disadvantaged so that they can come up with ways and means of supporting themselves. We support them through table banking, and also we also encourage them to join groups whereby they can even get loans through their table banking. So we have not forgotten the disadvantage. The fact that we are down there, we are able to interact and help them where we come in our own small way. I don't know whether my colleague would like to add up something to that.
Thank you very much, First Lady from Homa Bay. Thank you. I'll now give the mic to Nelly to respond to the question.
Thank you. Before I respond to the question, I just wanted to recognize my colleagues who came with me. Please wave at the audience. All my colleagues. We are many. They are here classified so that if we see anything that has to be classified, banned, restricted, we can do it without fear or favor. To the questions, I'll start with the second question. About the double standards and bias. Definitely there are phrases and words which are relative, but I'll respond by saying that we are mandated to provide age appropriateness, and as we do, we don't just sit and look and say, this one I think should be this. There's a scientific way within which we use, and we operate within the law. I've said Cap 222 of the laws of Kenya, that is Film and Stage Play Act Cap 222. So we have what we call classifiable elements. We look at the classifiable elements before we decide to restrict, classify, or rate anything. And there are many. They have to do with the frequency and the appearance of the same. Is it sex? Is it nudity? Is it obscenity? Is it hate? Is it radicalization? There are many things that we look at, religious values, maybe demeaning other people's religion. Excuse me. So we look at all that as we rate and classify. and then we give, whether it's general exhibition, parental guidance, 16, 18, or restricted. When a film is brought, because for a film to show out there, even the things you see, anti-boss, what, all those, they pass through as fast. As you bring it, we will look at the classifiable elements before giving even the license to go out and shoot. And then secondly, now we rate. And as we rate, when it comes, if 200, 300, 400 films come, then we will be dealing with them, and for sure we look at those. So if probably they don't pass the exam of the classifiable elements, then either we will ask you to go and correct, to remove some things. If we say if you remove this, then we can put it as 18 and above. But there are some things they may be in film. Let's say like now I know there are people who are angry, still angry about trafficking. It was so full of women, there are women I love, they're kissing, they're doing many other things and so on. Okay, as we say, this freedom of expression, it's creativity and all that, but the ideology being sold is illegal in our constitution. At the same time, it's an African and godly, and it's just that and good. So there are no apologies when there are such things. They have to be done for the sake of our children. We also handle TV, but there's what we call the watershed period, the period within which we operate within the law, from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. when adult content should not be aired. Anything aired after 10 p.m., that is where the parental guidance and guardians and who come in. That is where the child is now fully under the parent, or the adults are not just the government as such. And then there are others like 10 over 10, what they have been brought to us, something to do with the diaries of and so on. They come after 10. So if we took action, then we will be acting outside the law. We allow the law to work. Even if they brought people who are totally naked there on TV, now what we will do, we will say that is indecent exposure, maybe contravening another law. Otherwise, according to our limits, we can only do that. We've done a lot. Coca-Cola had the kissing part of the advert. We asked them to go and remove on TV. They corrected that. Then we took alcoholic organizations plus the breweries to court last year. And even Safaricom came in, they said they are supporting them. We won on every stage, and actually some of the alcohol we wanted, those adverts removed on TV were removed. Then we also keep on taking, there's many others, I don't want to mention them, but we've taken them and they have actually done that. Either they go and quickly correct. So some of those things that happen outside the watershed period. Then news, we do not classify news. Also talk shows where you see people sitting, that is real time. We don't deal with real time. We do commercials and what has been pre-recorded, so probably. But we have no intention of being biased with filmmakers versus the broadcasters on the TV. For sure, in fact, for those who see, our CEO, who is now the head of the organization and the face, has suffered a lot, in fact, a lot of maligning from TV than even film because of what we do. We do not have any intention to be biased towards filmmakers, but the filmmakers are just told they should make sure they take a license. Even when you drive, there's the driving license, everything we do, there is a license. It is just part of the law, and the law has to be respected. Classifiable elements, whatever is not part of our constitution or our culture or immoral, you might ask me, morality is relative. There are some norms which are just norms, whether relative or not. About the sculptures and all that, I believe it's not about corrupting the minds of the children. Like if I asked all of you, okay, about the sculptures at the airport, here is, I don't know if the antelopes or what, one on top of another. Well, maybe we want to say they are playing or they are just running or an accident has happened. I do not know. You can look at it in whichever way you want. But what if they were just put side by side? Have they to have one mounting the other? It doesn't have to be sexual to say. You can still be creative without really talking. Leave it to our imagination. Don't be. So anyway, I guess I've answered.
Thank you very much. Please give them a round of applause for the wonderful response. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll agree with me that we have had a really wonderful session, and it's time for us to break for a cup of tea. I would have allowed ourselves to continue, but I think we have more coming, so please, let's break for a cup of tea. Thank you very much. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. Thank you. So, I'm told there's a cup of tea ready, and I wish to release all of you to go for a cup